Yeah, so in a recap, really, as far as ordinance, as far as I hate being labeled as anti-solar. This one goes for you. I am okay with solar on a brown field in Whitley County. That's not going to affect anybody else, so I'm okay with that. But what we're not okay with is the decommissioning plans that we really haven't started to dive into, and I think it's important that everyone know what that decommissioning plan is. So, in industrial solar, we're going to drive pylons down into the limestone. It's going to go in there, and in 40 years, not 5 years, not 10, but 40 years from now, they're going to hire someone with a big piece of machinery at decommissioning, and that person is going to load it on a trailer, drive it to that piece of ground, get it a couple hundred yards into the industrial solar complex, and for every square acre, they're going to remove those pylons, panels, wires, everything in that ground for $500 in 40 years. It's unacceptable. We know common sense says that that's not it. I was talking to one of you outside that said you had somebody bury a dead animal and on your ground, and it was more than that at current market prices. So moving forward, when we ask for a cash bond on the decommissioning side, that number is a lot smaller than what you think, because their current decommissioning is at $500 per acre. And so we know, as industrial solar, we know that the confines, just because they sign up 50 acres doesn't mean there's going to be a 50-acre industrial park there. It could be 20 acres, it could be 30. We don't know what their finalized plan is. So with that being said, what's within the fencing to remove that, the dollar amount for decommissioning is not this massive amount. I know Mike had stated that the project itself here was, I forget how many, like 150 million or something like that, but obviously the marketing material that has been coming out is 350 million. I know that Mike mentioned the jobs that it's going to create, but just so you know, the plan that the actual people doing the work that submitted said they're going to have two full-time real jobs. That's just where we're really at. The decommissioning on the cash bond is a very reasonable expectation as far as what our request is, because it's really not that great of an amount. That is there. Obviously, the setbacks are going to be our biggest contention. But the reason that a lot of people have asked in the past, they've asked why are you involved? And I will tell you on a personal level why I am is I'm fortunate. I'm blessed. I'm blessed that the Brown family, Mark Brown, Mark and Nadine, they didn't sell out for the millions of dollars that they were offered cash to buy their land. And I'm blessed and I'm fortunate that I'm surrounded by the Fusselman family's ground that really help protect us. But those people that aren't protected is Janet Husband, and I think most of us in this community knew Myron. He was one heck of a good man. So now we have the widow Janet Husband, who's out there in her house right now, and she's getting surrounded by 3 sides of a black glass prison. That's unethical, it's immoral, and it shouldn't happen. Angie Brubaker, 3 sides. Chris Hasley has 3 properties. He's all of age surrounded. You've got Terry Beeks, all 3 sides of her house. You've got the Dunham family. You've got Jeff Falk, Garrett Denius, Brenda Boxell, Brenda Coffenauer. You've got Belinda Thacker, Darwin Gardy. You got Cameron Baker. It's got so much of that solar around him. It's just he's annihilated. I understand law, I understand regulations, I understand it. I live in that world with my own businesses, but at the end of the day, you have to be opposition. We have to be good neighbors. And no matter what you decide on how this goes, at the end of the day, morally, you can't go and surround someone's house at some part of their property 25 feet off the property line. It just doesn't make sense. I am glad that the opposition agrees that it's all wrong. It's wrong, and it shouldn't have happened, and it is wrong. But I want to go ahead and in closing, go ahead and tell you one thing, is that we can remember the last meeting that we had where one of the now absentee landowners had already moved to Florida now, they boogied downtown. But I want to talk about how when they came up and they said, just go talk to the solar people. Just go talk to them. You're all wrong. They're good people. So I want to go ahead and tell you what happened that particular day when we knew we were going to actually vote for a moratorium. Most of you don't know what happened. What actually happened is they knew that we were voting for a moratorium, so they came in and they went ahead and slid a document in that says, hey, Mr. County, we don't care what you guys come up with. We are now bound by the old rules and not your new ones, so we don't care what you come up with. Me personally, I don't think that's somebody I would do business with. I just wouldn't. But the crazy thing is that they did that in St. Joe County as well. And in St. Joe County, I'm going to let you know that when they were going to vote for a moratorium, 4 different solar companies came in and slid 4 of them in so that they wouldn't be bound by the new rules when you found out that you had holes in regulations. One thing that both of us can agree on, we all agree, we've got a bad ordinance, we've got a bunch of holes. So when both of us, whether you're opposition or pro, doesn't matter, when we agreed it was wrong, we should all be livid that this company came in here. It's not even really called a company, but we're talking about, France. But they came in and said, we don't care about your ordinance. And they've done it. The history repeats itself. They've done it in county after county after county after county. When you realize that you've got a problem, because none of us were solar experts, and I can promise you, nobody was a solar expert back in 2018 and 19. The state came in and said, hey, get your ordinance together, it's coming. I believe that Huntington County at that particular time did the best job that they could. We were uninformed, we didn't know. Things had changed, we've learned things. So as soon as we went there and said, we're going to fix this, they came in like a thief in the night and said, no, you're not. We don't care what you fix. They duped us all. And they've done it in St. Joe County, they've done it in many other counties. I don't think it's a reputable company in any way, shape, or form. That's my thought on it. But that's it.
We concur that there must be setbacks established for solar energy systems. A 1,250-foot setback is 3 times the setback required for a renewable unit and serves little legitimate public purpose. It's a thinly cloaked strategy to block utilities. We concur that neighboring property owners should have their interests protected, but imposing an arbitrary 3-mile distance between solar energy systems ignores the design of a regional utility grid. Its only effect would be to block utility electric solar. The revisions we proposed are made using standards established in Indiana Code 814210. It's a statute that establishes setback requirements for large-scale solar energy systems in Indiana. Some of the language is borrowed from a published guidebook, Model Solar Ordinance by Indiana University Environmental Resilience Institute and Great Plains Institute. Any acreage cap in the final ordinance should be based on the proposed fenced area of each project, not the size of the zoning overlay. Acreage caps should not apply to lands that continue to be used for productive agricultural purposes, such as, but not limited to, animal grazing, row cropping, or hay farming. Any restrictions that govern relationship between solar energy projects and neighboring parcels or homes should be waivable by the owner of the neighboring parcel or home. This ordinance provision would allow neighboring property owners to negotiate receive additional benefits and concessions from the project developer. What interest does the county have in stepping into those private negotiations? In our meetings, there are moments of kind of clarity and so on. And the notion that really what it boils down to is I don't want to look at it governs a lot of this.
Oh, no.
Yeah, health issues.
Okay,
Please, yeah. Just hold your comments to yourself, please.
And that isn't something that I said, it's something that I heard personally. This is an effective way to say it, is what has been proposed here by the opposition. One thing I would like to address is having farmed my whole life. I would like to ask, what is our agricultural heritage? To me, it's changed dramatically over the past 2 decades and continues to change drastically. It's not going towards smaller farms or more farms. It's going towards more industrial agriculture. I would beg to differ. And once again, I find it really surprising that the propagandization of mistrust, I believe, is, I'll give you an example of this. The Huntington County Surveyor's Office is an accompanying drainage board. Does not need babysitting and hand-holding. They are competent, effective community members. And then we see this so many, some of them are pretty smart, really smart, super smart people. And we see this time and again, that nobody can be trusted, nobody can be trusted, nobody can be trusted. And I just, I think we've come to this point where we're not going to do anything. And I don't see how that's going to be an effective leadership for counties, states, you name it. So I let it go at that. And
thank you.